She texted him a confession. "Did you ever know that I had the biggest crush on you?" But what started as a harmless message spiraled into stories of guns, fear, and betrayal that would eventually bring Sean Diddy Combs to federal court. Her name is Capricorn Clarc, a former insider, a loyal employee, and now one of the key witnesses unraveling a story far more sinister than anyone imagined. She says she pleaded for her job, warned Cassie Ventura of a deadly threat, in that she was blacklisted from the music industry just for knowing too much. This isn't just about a music mogul. It's about control, silence, and what happens when someone dares to speak up. Here's what really happened, according to Capricorn Clarc. June 2021. Out of the blue, Capricorn Clarc, once a trusted member of Sean Diddy Combs' inner circle, reached out to her former boss with a surprising confession. "We hung out all the time. I played it super cool," she wrote. "I don't think you knew. I just knew for sure that you liked to have me around." But under oath, Clark said she couldn't even remember sending that text or how Combs responded. And maybe that's not what mattered most. Because what started as admiration would morph into something far darker. And Clark would soon find herself not just on the inside of Combs' empire, but at the center of its collapse. The crush may have faded, but what she witnessed, she says, could never be forgotten. When Cassie Ventura signed with Bad Boy Records, she wasn't just an artist. She was a project, personally curated by Sean Diddy Combs. Capricorn Clarc, who once helped shape Cassie's image, says it was obvious from the start. Cassie got more attention, more resources, more access than anyone else. Diddy wasn't just her boyfriend. He was her manager, gatekeeper, and image maker. Clark says Cassie changed over time, from a sweet model to what she called a feisty girlfriend. That shift, Clark claimed, mirrored how Diddy's control intensified behind the scenes. That same year, Clark helped Cassie prep for the VMAs. She says Cassie liked the bold new look. But it came with an unspoken truth. Everything, even Cassie's hair, had to go. This wasn't just pop star perfection, it was control. And Clark says that when Diddy and Cassie were fighting, that support disappeared. Overnight. Behind the platinum records and red carpets, Clark paints a portrait of a tightly controlled world. And she says the tension in that world was just beginning to boil over. December 2011. Capricorn Clarc wakes up to a knock on her door. Standing outside, Sean Diddy Combs. Clark says Diddy forced a building guard to let him in, then told her they were going to Kid Cudi's house. She says she didn't want to go. Clark says Combs had a gun. She feared what he might do. And at one point outside Kid Cudi's home, she made a desperate call. "Puff came to my house with a gun. We came to Cudi's house to kill him." Kid Cudi's car suddenly appeared. Clark says Combs and his security guard jumped back into the SUV and chased him. No shots were fired that night. No arrests were made. But for Clark, the threat was real, and it didn't end there. She says she phoned London for protection. Not police, not security, just someone who would know where she was if something went horribly wrong. Clark's story raises one haunting question. Why didn't anyone stop it then? After the night at Kid Cudi's house, Capricorn Clark's world didn't just change, it fell apart. Officially, Clark says she was fired in 2012 over a vacation, but she believes the real reason? She knew too much about Cassie Ventura and Kid Cudi. Blacklisted, that's the word Clark used. According to her, even meetings that seemed hopeful quickly turned cold. Clark says industry executives warned her to stop talking. One meeting, she claims, ended with a threat thinly veiled as advice. Unable to find steady work, she pivoted to consulting. But the damage, she says, was already done. In 2016, Clark returned to work for Cassie Ventura again. She says she didn't have a choice. According to Clark, every detail of Cassie's career, every look, every song, every appearance, still required Diddy's approval. She says the control never stopped. It just got more refined. On the final stretch of her testimony, Capricorn Clarc didn't just describe events. She painted a picture of power, fear, and collapse. She said Combs didn't just shape Cassie Ventura's career. He approved everything, her image, her music, even her movements. He approved all of her looks, every song, every event she went to. If they were fighting, that support would disappear. Support wasn't consistent. It was conditional, Clark said. Pulled away during fights, used as leverage, a reward, a punishment. By the end, Clark said, she was worn down, emotionally, professionally, drained by a man she once tried to protect. She says she went from confidant to collateral damage. But the court is far from done. 4 more witnesses are scheduled: a former assistant, an alleged victim, first responders. Clark's testimony is complete, but what comes next could either confirm or contradict everything she's just said. With Capricorn Clarc off the stand, her story now sits in the jury's memory. But this case, it's just getting louder. Next up, 4 new witnesses, each one pulling back the curtain further on what prosecutors say was a pattern of power, of fear, and of force. We'll hear from first responders, an LAPD officer, a fire department investigator, then Deontay Nash, a name that's come up more than once, and finally Mia, a former assistant and alleged victim. Prosecutors will try to build on Clark's emotional arc, from crushed loyalty to alleged criminal cover-up. The defense? They're aiming to poke holes, to frame Clark's collapse not as trauma, but self-preservation turned bitter. The judge, Aaron Subramanian, is letting both sides move fast, but not without control. Already, key parts of Clark's claims have been struck from the record, following sharp objections from the defense. This isn't just about Clark. It's about a pattern, about influence, about what power lets people do and what it can take away. Tomorrow, 4 voices, 1 courtroom, and a chance for the jury to decide who, if anyone, deserves to be believed. Capricorn Clarc's story isn't just about one night, one fight, or one man. It's about how power works in an industry built on image and silence. For years, Clarc was on the inside, trusted, loyal, then fired, shut out, and according to her, blacklisted, all for knowing too much or saying too little. What she described is more than a toxic relationship. It's a closed system where loyalty is currency, silence is survival, and control can be as valuable as a hit record. When Clarc says she couldn't get a job, even years later, it's not just about being fired. It's about an ecosystem that protects its power brokers and punishes dissent. Now she's speaking in open court, under oath, not in a tabloid, not in a podcast, but in a room where truth has legal consequences. This isn't just about Diddy or Clark or Cassie. It's about how many voices never make it to the stand and how many stories get buried before they're ever told. Capricorn Clarc told her story. The question now, is anyone listening? Capricorn Clarc's testimony pulled back the curtain on a world where loyalty, control, and power collide behind the glitz and glamour. What started as a career in the spotlight quickly revealed cracks, unspoken struggles, strained relationships, and consequences that stretch far beyond the stage. Her story shines a light on how influence can protect some and silence others, leaving the question, how many more stories like this remain hidden, waiting to be told? As the trial continues, the spotlight won't just be on Sean Diddy Combs. It will be on the culture around him, the secrets kept in plain sight, and the truth waiting to come out. What do you think is really happening behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates as this story unfolds.